Warning, the following content may not align with some of the views of the Sensitivity Police. Be advised that we are not professional advisors nor experts in most of the topics we discuss. We're just a couple of brothers with jokes and opinions. So lighten the fuck up. You are now tuned in to Brothers Having Breakfast.
He means he probably can't record. Yeah, he can't record. He's at the gym, getting bigger so he can beat up more people. He's getting his levels up.
I started going to the gym, but not so I could beat people up.
I heard, man, when you said that comment earlier, you was just like, you know what I'm saying, my gym buddy. And I was just like, oh, wait a minute. That's different from going to the gym. You got a gym buddy now.
When I started going to the gym, I started going with him.
His name is
I know, but you still made it seem like a gym buddy.
I have a gym buddy. I have a buddy that I go to the gym with.
That's deep. That's like level 2.
Is it somebody that like y'all decided to go to the gym, or you kind of just showed up to the gym and then y'all just became buddies at the gym?
My guy I went to high school with, that I volunteer with his nonprofit, he said, "Hey, do you work out?" And I was like, "No, but I always felt like I should." And he was like, "Me too. Do you want to start going over to the Y?" I was like, "Where?" And he told me it's like up the street and around the corner and away off the interstate. And I was like,
"Oh,
all right." I was like, "But dang, man, it costs $94 for the family." Because he's like, my wife already goes there, but I can upgrade the membership and just, you know what I'm saying, be me, her, and the boy. And I was like, well, shit. That means I could do me, the wife, and the girl. I was like, man, that's $94, man, a month. And he's like, is that a bridge too far? I was like, no, it's fine. I need to do it. You know what I mean?
Was like, yeah, man, there's a park over there with a track. We could do push-ups.
Yeah, y'all ain't got no y'all ain't got no
man, look, that's why it got a whole little gym in it with the machines and all that. It's got like 3 pools. You know what I mean? So, you know, I could take the wife and the kid and go over to the pool anytime they want, type shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but you know, I don't know.
I can start going. I go 2 times a week right now. I can, you know what I'm saying, start upping that to 3, then 4, you know what I mean? Then be going 5 days a week or some shit. And
as long as you use it, bro, it's a worthy investment. Like, I know plenty of times my lazy ass has bought gym memberships and went like twice. And it's like, oh, I wasted money. But if you really utilize it and you deem it as a worthy investment, then it's a worthy investment.
I mean, we both, you know what I'm saying? We meet up there, you know what I'm saying? He hits me, you know what I'm saying? We haven't missed a week yet. We've missed a couple, we're about to get a personal trainer for a couple sessions.
Nice.
Okay. Yeah, so that at least we know what to do and we get a plan, and then from there we can just, you know, every time we in there, we can work that plan. We usually in there about like 50 minutes to an hour and 20 minutes or so, hour and 10.
Yeah, you really don't need a lot. And then at the end of the day, too, like,
you don't know what I need.
I mean, nobody really needs a lot.
You can't be the one to give no fitness advice, Jimmy.
All right, I'll accept that.
Damn, that's fucked up.
Hey, I mean, you got to know your place. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But also, you've never been fit.
That's far from the truth.
Yeah, that's false. I'll give him that. That's false.
So far from the truth.
What, you talking about decades ago, Jimmy?
No, we're talking about 2-3 years ago. And I was a wrestling champion.
That's such a large fall.
Listen, I was doing in prison.
You haven't been fit for decades.
Let's focus on you being proven wrong. That's what we're gonna focus on. That part.
It's just that the fall off is so heavy that it's hard to believe. Anyhow.
Well, just worry about getting your ass back up on that cliff, and you'll be straight.
No, because I've never worked out.
Oh,
the only time I did any working out. All right, listen, only time I never did any working out for real, I was always like naturally, you know what I'm saying, just kind of in shape. You know what I'm saying? It was always a conditioning factor.
Bro. That's not a thing.
It was for me. It was for me growing up. And when like it came time for football and everything, because I didn't start playing football until the 9th grade. And so that was the first time, like, you know, playing organized football and all that. You know what I'm saying? My dad wouldn't let me play until then. But I also didn't have an interest until then. But that's the only working out I did was like during practice and stuff, like the 2 days and all that. I didn't run on my own. I didn't do no lifting on my own. I ain't do none of that. I just just didn't want to.
What I mean is like, okay, yeah, there are people that are like naturally athletic and things like that, but like my 15-year-old, he thinks just because he's skinny, he's in great shape. And it's like, no, bro, can you like how long is it gonna take you to run this mile? Like how many things can you do? Where's your cardio at? Like, and him being skinny, probably off rip, I probably have better cardio than someone like me, but it's still like you can still be in better shape, you know what I mean?
He can be in better shape, but he's in pretty good shape for a kid who really doesn't work out.
Yeah, he is. He can.
And according to and from the video that I seen, him handling 2 dudes on his own, he's in pretty good shape for a kid that doesn't work out.
I know, right? He did that, man. That was a very proud dad moment. Wish it wouldn't happen, but it did.
That part, it always feel good, your kid got to punch somebody in the face, let alone 2 people in the face at the same time.
It feels good to know that he's not going to just take a punch to the face. You know what I mean? Like that was like growing up. After I got shot, it was like I was scared to death to fight because I know how fast a fight can turn deadly. And so like I turned down a lot of fades over my life. So I always felt, kind of like a bitch. And so I've always wanted to make sure like that my kids aren't like that. And so also with the wisdom of them understanding like, hey, things can turn very fast, but defend yourself.
That part. But the only reason why you felt like that, right?
Because I was a bitch for a little bit.
That's because you're weak like a woman.
No.
Amazing.
Shut up.
Yo. Hey, yo. I can't help it. Every time somebody says something, he's the first person coming to mind. You sounded like a woman. Amazing.
Oh, okay. I think it's someone else. I thought you was talking about old boy that we was talking about the other day.
Yeah, Jesse Porter.
Jesus.
Are you saying his name right?
Probably not, man. I'm not the best with names.
That's why earlier you was like Jesse Porter. I was like, I don't know who. You're talking about Jesse Peterson.
Oh gosh. There you go. Jesse's last name start with a P. You knew who I was talking about.
There we go. The real life Uncle Ruckus.
See, Jimmy speaks a little bit of B-Mitch too.
I mean, it's difficult to not have to if you're going to communicate with me long enough to understand anything you're talking about.
Well, he's convinced that we all live in his simulation.
He's not convinced of that. He only just came up with that theory recently. And
definitely convinced.
Definitely, that's a definite, that's like, you've known Brian, not as long as me, but just as well, if not better than me. I'm not going to go into
It's not a competition, Jimmy.
I was just about to say, I'm not going to go into who knows him better. It's irrelevant.
It might be because your whole life is. So
your whole life is a competition, Jimmy. But I want you to calm down.
Well, no, the crazy part is, and I told him this when I first heard it on that podcast, is that he never mentioned that literally the beginning of life, like we're in competition since we were sperm cells. Like it's the
what are you talking about, Jimmy?
The first sperm to reach the egg. It's a race.
Yeah.
Listen. You hear that?
You're not taking my moment from me, Addison.
That's all the sense that you made.
What? How? Because
there was nothing there. I said nothing. That's how much sense that made. It's bullshit. I don't want to hear that shit right now. What the fuck are you even talking about? What are you talking about, Jimmy?
He doesn't like
What is that?
Sperms race to the egg, man.
What does that have to do with the price of tea?
It's a competition.
You trying to make me seem like I don't make no sense by completely not making sense.
Listen.
You try to use nonsensical data to prove my nonsense. That's crazy. Come on now.
Gosh. Addison, you starting to sound like a woman. You sounded bitter.
Reload your web shooters.
Amazing.
So what you're saying, competition
started when we were sperm cells. That's science. It's like 8th grade science.
Yeah, my guy, the sperms race to the seed.
Do they race?
And we
I'm pretty sure they do. They swim.
Are they racing?
All three
or is it just all of them are going in the same direction, and the one that gets there is the first one?
Nah,
it's a race,
and it locks it in.
Numbers on it.
It locks it in, and none else can push in afterwards.
So if there was a first, then there was a second, a third, a fourth, and so on, right?
That is enumeration. It's not necessarily a competition.
So that means it's a race.
But at the end of the day, once they get there, they're all trying to get
on the first one and the second one and the third one and so on and so forth. And all of them have Each one of them is an individual in and of itself. So it's not necessarily.
Were they?
Not necessarily. Yes.
Were
each
they?
one of them is individual in and of itself.
Yeah,
okay.
man.
Okay.
They definitely are.
Each of them.
I don't know if you've ever.
All of them have one mandate. It's not necessarily that it's a race. It just means that they all have the similar mandate and they are shooting for success.
Okay, so what do track stars have? Do they have a similar mandate, or are they
track stars are literally in a fucking competitional race?
Do they have a mandate?
What do you mean? Do they have a mandate?
Do they have a mandate?
What? Answer your own question because I don't understand what you're trying to get.
I mean, you're right because it is rhetorical because we both know they do. Are they also searching for success, shooting for success? Of course,
not the individual success. That's the individual success, not the success of the act.
This is the point, Addison.
The procreation in and of itself.
You tried to prove that I didn't.
That's not necessarily a competition.
And you didn't.
That's all I'm saying. Oh, if sure, you'd be like, "Oh, what about race car drivers? Are they in a race?" You'd be like, "Okay, yeah, sure, whatever." But you know what I mean? Snow falling from the sky is not in a race to get to the ground, but one of them is going to be first.
Well, I mean, I guess we would have to ask if the sperm cells are conscious that they're in a race to be.
Are they not conscious in some way?
Are they? If they are, then it's a race.
I'm trying to figure out how long you plan to be on this, you know what I'm saying, podcast. And the first time is you want to talk a whole lot about sperm.
What? Hold on.
It's my second time.
You're right. It's your second time. I'm sorry that the first time wasn't so memorable. But what I'm trying to say is, how much time are we going to spend on sperm?
As much time as you do, sir.
I really gave it 2 minutes.
We've already given it far too long, Paul.
Man, I hate that pause shit. That's like that no homo shit they used to say back in the States.
I do. Listen, I do too. Nah, man, because at this point,
it's fun.
Addison have to use it only because the recording the other day, I couldn't keep everything, but he said some things and I don't even be into the pause shit. But I definitely was like, you should definitely say pause.
Oh shit!
Definitely should say pause. I think that would have just changed. That would have. Oh man, that would have been
Mason's still doing it too. And they had a short video with Jadakiss getting caught up in one. He was like, there's the dude he was interviewing with, he's like, "You're not gonna say pause?" He's like, "Nah, I don't do that sort of thing." You know what I'm saying? I don't do that, you know. And then later on in the conversation, he was like, "I mean, that's kind of a pause moment, though. I mean," and dude was like, "I thought you said if you don't pause." Like, yeah, but you said the thing with the joint. You did the motion to the mouth. I mean, you can't say that.
Why does your Jadakiss impression sound more like Farrell and Kessel?
Because they're all the same. I just use nasally. I just go nasally. It's the same. It's the same. Like. See, hold on. Kessel. He's like here. You know what I mean? And he does. The thing is that he pronounces all of his he enunciates every one of his syllables. You know what I mean? And then when you're doing Mike, you gotta like have a whole lot more gravel and a whole lot more hood in it. You dig what I'm saying?
The way you said hood in it sounded just like him. Oh my god!
Because it's like because Mike
talks from the
he
throat.
talks like he just gargled gravel for at least all of his teenage years. Easy.
He's gonna forever sound like a '90s hip hop artist.
You know what I'm saying? He literally has the most gravelly voice. One of the most gravelly voices I have ever heard. And it's always, but since he's not like a dumbass and like he says that hot shit, Mike Farrell has always been one of the most fascinating characters I have ever met.
Absolutely.
That part.
Yeah.
Devin Clater got a little bit of a gravelly voice too.
He do.
Devin Clater's is far more.
Jadakiss.
I can't say softer, but like his has far more. It's more svelte. Like it's got a more
rhythm to it.
No, it's just smoother. His is smoother. It's got gravel in it, but it's smoother. I can't actually do his because it's been a minute since I talked to him. But yeah, Clater has like a more unique smoothness in the gravelly of his voice. But you know, gravel voices are kind of almost a Charleston thing.
That part. And beards.
No, I'm saying super beards. Super beards.
Yeah, well, super beards.
I mean, not everybody can grow beards, Brian. But
oh yeah, don't remind me. I hate that shit.
Yeah.
So look, check this out.
Brian, but it's also
for check this out for science. Well, it's not science.
Science.
So I don't have a refrigerator out here, so I put me a couple of yeah, man, not in the garage.
Oh, yeah. In the cave. I got you. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I put me a couple of White Claws in a trash bag with some ice and set them in the cooler, and now they're all like super chilled and cold.
That's not science, but I mean that's also scientific. I guess.
I like White Claws, man. They make me feel like a Karen.
That kind of blows my mind, bro.
Everything blows your mind, Jimmy.
Whenever I drink one, I start getting all.
How is explain the science, or were you just wanting to talk about your White Claws because you love to just sprinkle that shit in every conversation now?
White Claws?
Do you feel sophisticated because you drink White Claws?
I don't say I feel sophisticated. I feel entitled.
Going for.
After about the third one, I feel entitled.
Oh my god!
Your privilege.
They break White Claws. They'll bring the Karen out of you.
Privilege in a can.
These claws are definitely white. Rare. Like, what the fuck?
Nah, you can pause that one.
Yeah, you gotta pause that one.
Wow. Are felines inherently female?
May I have your chips?
What chips? No.
Oh, that's cold.
Listen, hey. No, you cannot. Close my door.
You ain't shit.
Listen, she will go through a complete bag of those lime chips, like a whole thing of them, a whole bag by herself. No, the tortilla lime.
Oh yeah.
She'll go through a whole bag of them. I'm talking about the family pack.
Hey,
by herself. Bought a bag. I bought a bag 2 weeks ago. I bought 2 bags. I hid one because I knew she was gonna get one, and sure enough, it was not there the next day.
Man, look, that was so cold. Why? I don't know why. Have you seen Indigenous Bastards?
Glorious Bastards?
Is it Glorious Bastards?
Yes.
Yo.
You gotta speak that language. Let's go.
Wow. The scene where the kid is in the room dancing and his dad comes in. It's like, turn that crap off.
It's heartbreaking.
Like, can I have some chips?
No. Can I have some of your chips? I was like, wait, what chips? Oh no!
Oh man, that was cold.
Hey, it's like that with the Tapatio Doritos, man. Like they're so rare to find up here. I'll be
what are
the Tapatio?
You gotta go to Piggly Wiggly.
No, I get them at Save a Lot and Cross Lanes all day long.
Piggly Wiggly got them on the shelves all day.
Yeah, I know. I've been over there to grab them. Walmart do too sometimes, but I grab them. I gotta hide them things.
They do be slapping. That hot sauce has been my official hot sauce ever since you put me onto it.
I'm telling you. Hey, I took Soraya to the buffet today, and they have this Valentino's. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm at the
That's ridiculous.
I'm gonna test it out some more. I ain't gonna lie. When I was at Popeyes in Akron yesterday or the other day, and I had Louisiana's, I was like, man, why did I ever like this? Or like after having Tapatio, it's like it's hard to go back to Texas Pete, Crystals, Louisiana. That shit's all watered down to me.
Are you talking about a hot sauce?
Yeah,
I'm talking about multiple. I'm talking about a hot sauce that'll change the quality of your life.
Yeah,
this
I
is
don't
why
really use hot sauce that often.
No, that's because you're not really black. You a house nigga.
Oh shit.
Nah, so look, so. I was saying today I've had this conversation on standby for a while for real.
What conversation?
Relationships.
Relationships.
Do you have a companion or a partner? Like what do you prefer? And it really become this is how it kind of happened. remember me and you have a conversation, me and Addison talking to you. We had a conversation a few weeks ago or whatnot, talking about relationship stuff. And when I came to the garage, you know what I'm saying? I think I was about to jump on the game, but I seen some shit on YouTube and the thing popped up. It was, I think dude is like a pastor, but his name is Devon Franklin.
That's Kirk Franklin's son.
Is it?
Let's hope not.
All
Keep
right.
going.
So
remember, Kirk Franklin went the fuck off on his son. Remember, he was like,
he did, like on live and everything.
Right. So I don't want to. I don't want to hear that guy be the one giving advice because
he's definitely not.
We
that
heard
guy.
your
I
daddy
seen what
chew
that
you
guy
out.
looked like. So
and
this
said you wasn't shit.
Married to Megan Good.
And Kirk Franklin made Stomp. No. Megan Good ain't married no more. She dating Jonathan Majors.
Oh, I said he was
nice.
married.
Oh well, he's a loser then.
He was like, I'm gonna stay away from these white women and go get me a black woman. Jonathan Majors.
Hey,
he almost lost it all.
Almost.
For real.
God
he had to
damn.
fight for that.
Was it a
so
white
hurt
girl that he
still.
went through that with?
Yeah, that's why he got a black chick.
Man, that's crazy. I didn't know.
Of course, you know, they fill buildings with things you don't know, Jimmy.
Oh yeah, of course. That's true of all humanity.
So after we had the conversation, you know what I'm saying, I came and this shit popped up on my algorithm and it was 101 the truth about being single. And I was just like, so I checked it out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm only gonna play like the first 2 minutes because he kind of get to the point of what I'm saying a little quickly. But I'm gonna play this and then we'll talk about it a little bit. Hold on, let me make sure everything.
With it. I want you to take it up with him, not me. Amen. So here's the thing that you know, I've been in the church my whole life. And one of the things that has always just gotten to me is this idea and this stigma around singleness. Oh boy. Okay, all right, let's just pause. How many of you are single? All right. Now,
hold on, I'm trying to forward it a little bit to get past all the bitches and people talking.
How many are not single? Okay. Interesting. For those of you, I don't know what's going on over here. For those of you that raised your hand and said you're not single, were you born with your partner? I want to submit for all of our consideration that no matter our relationship status, we're all single. We're all an individual. Why is this important? Because if you want to be in a couple is made up of two singles. If the single is weak, the couple is weak too. The couple is only as strong as the singles that make up the couple. And too often in church culture, we're rushing people into being couples when we have not equipped them to be a good single. I don't know what I'm talking to right now, but you gotta know that if you are not in a couple, that doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. Because so often we wear a stigma with singleness as if singleness is a disease to be cured from. I got a news flash for you. There is no cure for singleness because it's not a disease. And too often we have that stigma and it gets revealed in this question. How many of you heard this question before? Why are you still single? Come on, by show of hands. Right? So inherent in the question is that there's a problem being uncoupled. And usually the person that asked the question is the same person that rushed into a couple, not happy themselves. Misery loves company. So they're trying to ask you a question to make you feel less than about a status that is part of your divine design. We are all individuals, and there's nothing wrong with that. Can I say more? Next time, I hope y'all might get me out of here for this. Okay, next time a married person says, why are you still single? I want you to say, well, why are you still married?
So yeah, I'm gonna end it right there. Well, technically because a commercial came on and I don't pay for free shit or the one shit or whatever. So yeah, man, that that had like popped up on my algorithm that same day. And it's wild because if you listen to it, I'll put the link in the along with the description and everything. But if you listen to it, he say a lot of things that I've said before. And I know also, Addison, you battle with me on some points of it. You'd be like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Wait, what? I hate when I say that. It's hard to argue against, right?
We all do.
Shut up, Jimmy. But yeah, man. So I mean, that goes. I feel like that breaks down the question: Are you with a companion or a partner? Because my whole thing was like I've said it before. Like I feel like a partnership is what it takes to build a relationship versus having a companion.
I mean, it's got to be both, though.
It doesn't have to be.
I mean, I would say that any semblance of a successful relationship is going to be a balance of both, and it doesn't even have to be equal balance. But at the end of the day, like, you're going to build, you're going to, achieve success together. Balance. Let me talk, Addison. You're going to achieve success together, and you're going to get these things accomplished. The whole power couple thing is so popular nowadays, but at the end of the day, it's like, no, my girl doesn't need to be my therapist, and I still need my homies, I still need men to talk to, but there's got to be some type of companionship there.
Okay, Addison, what you say is different.
I'm saying they're not opposites. So you don't have to choose between the two. If they're not opposites, they mutually exclusive, but they are allowed to exist in the same space.
That's exactly what I just said.
That's not exactly what you just said. No, it's not, because he said that there needs to be balance, and that doesn't mean the same thing. You don't. Well, there's 1,000 things that would have to have balance. Then all inside the same space. What I'm saying is they both can exist. You don't have to quantify either. No, you don't have to quantify either. That's you can qualify them, maybe say that there is more or less, but their existence doesn't necessarily always have to depend on the other.
That would be the companion, or are you just talking about the
no,
two
what
words
I'm saying is the two words in general. One who is a companion, one who is a partner, one who is a soulmate, one who is the love of life. There's a whole lot of different things in there, so it's not really about balance to me. To me, it would be like if balance is like they have to be one is one and one is the opposite of it. You put them both on the scale and see which one is heavier or lighter. That is balance to me. It's not about balance. It's about the existence thereof and the lack thereof and the quality to which it reaches. You know what I'm saying? Is there more or less of it?
I feel that because they're also not just the only two variables in a relationship. And
that's my point.
Saying that
so it's not really about balancing those two things. You don't have to balance them. You have to have them, and you have to nurture each one for its own special task and role that it plays.
I feel that. At first, I thought we were just getting lost in semantics, but in reality, you're right, because there are more. You don't have to pick one or the other. Like, which is my original point too, but I like how you clarified like on the balance thing, because there are multiple variables that go into what, the normal person would, well, I'm going to say normal, what we would usually consider a successful relationship. And those really are, that they're just two aspects.
What you're speaking of is a subjective ideal. And I understand, but what I'm saying is, like I said, and like you're saying the same thing over and over again at this point.
Fuck that. I need build.
You want to do the destroying.
Who? Yeah. I want to destroy and rebuild.
Matter of fact, I love that y'all said that.
So here's the thing. You know what I'm saying? When it comes, let's say this. You have an idea of what a partner is. Can we get a definition for that?
I'm not what a partner is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Define that parameter there first.
A partner, like I would say, would kind of be like what he said is two. I mean, you have two individuals in the relationship, and at you have to start with. I mean, hold on, time out. Let me take that back. So, in order to make a relationship work,
say something.
You have to have. You know what I'm saying? It takes the two people. However, I feel like even if you're in a relationship, you both should have. You never should give up on your individual goals. It takes you to work. It takes the two people to actually work on those goals while at the same time working on the relationship versus follow the leader. which I feel like is companionship. And you've stated plenty of times, some people you have to lead. And I just be like, I do a lot of thinking. I don't really feel like trying to think for more people right now.
I understand that, but you know what I'm saying? That's kind of sometimes that lone wolf mentality that I also understand that you like to take on. But
1000%.
Man, but you have to understand all my life.
But that's usually more about you being afraid of letting everyone down.
And when I got tired, I fight some more.
Yeah, you always take everybody's everything on your shoulders. It's a whole thing for you. But but you do so also in some sort of isolation, and it's like wild. Because you're like, dude, we're here. And you'd be like, yeah, but I don't want you to have to face this.
You don't want no part of this shit.
Want no parts of this shit.
I mean, for real, because, bro, listen.
That's you.
Look,
but here's the thing. I think that you are diminishing what a companion or the effectiveness of a companion by your parameters that you set, by your definitions, because those are your denotations. They're not necessarily the same for another person who uses that lexicon. All right, so
that part,
a companion, which you would say is follow the leader. What I'm saying is that has its merit.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I was going to let you finish. Like I said, it's not like it's completely shit. You know what I'm saying? There's things that complements the fact. You know what I'm saying? I feel like we all bring something to the table and we all lack something.
I feel like even in every organization has to have a certain different type. Every organization has different types of setups. You dig what I'm saying? Sometimes you have a board. Sometimes you have a monarchy. Sometimes you have an oligarchy. All of these things. You know what I mean? Like you literally have different things. There's 1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So
I killed a cat.
What I'm saying is the ideal that you have as far as what would happen in the affinity between a couple or what have you, and it's about them utilizing themselves in a partnership where they're each focusing on their own goals while having a collective goal that they also work towards, as well as the, you know what I'm saying, strengthening of their personal bonds. Or you have a relationship, what I'm understanding what a companion is where you have an individual who's leading all the charge and someone who is therefore just doing all support to make those dreams come true and all that and everything and what have you. Be like, all right, we're both all in on this and this alone, and this is what I've chosen, this is what we're going to do, you following me or not, you know what I'm saying? Sort of deal.
And then sometimes you feel like hitting the D-pad and swiping right and going, help.
So then I would say that both can find you would be able to find pros and cons in both of those approaches to any relationships. But you're also going to find that there's also other types of relationships out there. The ones that are literally codependent, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying, both dependent, or what have you. You dig what I'm saying? And
I feel like
also got where neither one of them leads, and they're both just like floundering, and they're both toxic towards each other, and they're both actually pulling each other down. You know what I mean? Part. So what I'm finding also, like I said before, you know, it's not always about quantifying things as far as like the, you know what I'm saying, which comes first, which comes second, which better, which is worse. It's just, if you're going to play the hand, you got to play the hand that you dealt.
Well, I know this sperm cell came first because I'm alive, baby. Hell yeah.
Shut up, Jimmy.
Hell yeah.
Shut up, Jimmy. God damn it. See how you wanted to bring the conversation back to sperm?
We made it,
Jimmy
baby.
Over here, focused on nut juice.
We made it, baby. All three of us made it, baby, to even have a relationship. We had to get into that egg, baby. We didn't.
Man, listen.
You could have been a twin and killed
your other one. But the truth of the
one.
matter is, the way that you observe things is what it is, and it can't be any other way because it's already happened to be what it is. You dig what I'm saying? It can't be no
that
other
even
way.
Goes into like relationship.
So even to speak of another way is almost even blasphemous.
So what you said, Jimmy?
There's no way it could exist. Otherwise, it would.
It's
okay, hold on, Jimmy. I heard him.
It's blasphemous to a closed mind. You know what I mean? But somebody willing to be. I think open-mindedness is a spectrum.
No,
you know what I mean,
see, that's the thing, Jimmy. You can open your mind and say that there's a billion possibilities for things, but those all crumble in the face of what actually is.
Well,
and that's my point.
That's Jahari's window.
We could no. We could talk
reality,
1,000
there's
different
reality,
ways
and then there's true
about
reality.
how the planets may move and the stars may align. But what you observe as is all that is. No matter how you figure how they got there or whatever, it still just is what
your
is.
reality. There's three realities. There's your reality.
Are there? Are there three?
If I definitely more? There is
more. Are there not more than three?
Well, if I can expand without you interrupting me, maybe you'll understand what I'm saying.
Work, Jimmy. You're a guest. I don't have to be hospitable.
Well,
what would you say, Jimmy?
So look, man, it's Jahari's window, man. There's your reality, there's their reality, and then there's reality. You know what I mean? So it's like open-mindedness is really, maybe I can't quantify it as a spectrum, whatever. But at the end of the day, there has to be a balance between like closed. I don't even want to say closed-minded, but like, a stern, like holding on to one's beliefs and open-mindedness. You can call it stubbornness and open-mindedness, but it's like
being austere with one's boundaries of belief. What I understand, though, Jimmy, is that there's therefore no such thing as truth.
That's
merely points of view.
Why'd you do one of those long pauses like when you hit a cigarette and try to
hitting a cigarette?
It makes people feel like you're even more right when you do that. You know that's like a thing, don't you?
It's a thing I do.
That's a whole thing. That's like a psychological trick people use. For some reason, if somebody
really works all the time,
it kind of does. If somebody starts a statement and then they hit a cigarette and they finish it, it's kind of like because you wanted to hear what they said. They hit that cigarette. It's like, what the fuck? And then the rest comes out, and it's almost like you're pulling in. It's like it's weird. It's really a thing. Look into it. And
no, you're right. It's a persuasive trick, but it also sometimes is. Oh man, I'm recognizing that I'm full of shit. Okay, now I got the ledge again. I'm not gonna fall off.
I understand that that's a problem that you have to contend with, Jimmy. I, on the other hand, got mine, and I'm usually right when I say what it is that I'm gonna say.
That's only because when people usually say they're usually right, that's only because in their mind they're thinking about the times they were right. They're not counting the times when they thought they were right and they were wrong.
That part.
So if I say I'm right,
your reality.
I'm right, that's 95% that you can take to the bank, and that's what it is. If I say I'm right. If I say I think I'm right, that's about like an 80-something% chance that I'm actually right about what I said.
But this
I'm go ahead and take the time to like
throwing shit out there.
May or may not be right.
I'm gonna tell you something you do.
60-something%, and you're gonna be like, I don't know if Addison's right about that one. He's just gonna say some shit.
But you'll hold on to that 60%.
I promise you that I choose very carefully when to say, no, I'm right about this. It's kind of one of my things. It's a burden that I bear from overthinking. But if I say no, I'm right about this. That's a literal 95%. You can.
Yeah, but you also said hypocrisy. Well, I said hypocrisy.
Hypocrisy is one of the tenets of my existence.
Exactly. So it's just like what?
That's hypocrisy. Not. That doesn't determine whether or not I'm right or wrong. That's just being a hypocrite. I don't necessarily follow the ideas and ideals that I'll spit.
So it sounds like, brother, you're wrong.
It's not right to kill somebody and maybe go out and slaughter a motherfucker type shit. You dig what I'm saying? That's a hypocrite. That don't mean that I'm right or wrong when I say you shouldn't kill
cats.
So to rein this back to the relationship. So what I was saying earlier is like, Brian, we all have our preconceptions of relationships, and it's going to be based off a lot of the conditioning that we've gone through. So obviously we already know the cliche shit of whether you had a dad, didn't have a dad, this, that, third, fourth, fifth. But like at the end of the day, like I know this whole power couple thing has become very popular. And I think it's great if you can get two people that like are goal driven in their own ways, and maybe they can come together and build a business, or maybe one's a doctor, one's a lawyer, and they they're pursuing their own practices. But then you're going to have those relationships to where like maybe the wife doesn't really have the vision like that, but she's a hell of a helpmate. She's a hell of a support. She's going to be able to make sure that your kids are being raised right while you're out there conquering the world and building something for them. And she's equally as important as he that is with the vision. So it's like, and it might be the opposite. It might be the wife that has the vision, and the husband is really like, okay, I don't really see that, but I'm willing to follow your lead because I trust, you know what I mean? And I'm gonna hold things down over on the ways that I can hold things down. And so, like Addison said, it's really a matter of preference, like, you know. But
No, I didn't say it's a matter of preference.
okay, then what did you say?
I just said that.
I don't want to put words in your mouth.
I just say that things exist. You know what I mean, and that there's just different ways to do things, and that, you know what I mean. It doesn't always mean that it's a preference. You dig what I'm saying? I can't speak to what someone may or may not prefer. What I'm just saying is that the options exist. That there's different ways to do things, and there's different ways for relationships to be successful. Some can be, you know what I'm saying, almost like the linear street where one person is rocking it and the other person is just, you know what I'm saying, following along and being a support. Some relationships can have, you know what I'm saying, where both of them are, you know what I'm saying, separate but also equal and therefore working towards mutual goals. Some relationships can have where they're both dragging each other down. Some relationships can have where one is pushing forward, one is pulling back, and they're spinning in circles because they're not equally yoked. Biblical reference. But what I'm saying is all things can exist. Now, one can be for you or not for you. You dig what I'm saying? But that doesn't necessarily dictate whether or not one can or cannot, should or should not exist. You see, I'll let you in on something. And maybe this will help others understand Addison a little bit better. I don't like to quantify or set hierarchies too often on too many things. I like to just acknowledge that things exist and then make my own personal assessments on whether or not I wish for them to exist in my realm. You dig what I'm saying? I don't want to say whether or not you should or should not have that shit in yours. You dig what I'm saying? So I don't like to judge. I don't like to say, oh, that's not good for you or whatever like that. You know, for the most part, I'd be like, man, I can see why that would exist. I could see why that can happen. I can see that. I understand
to each his own. Yeah.
Right. To each their own. You know what I mean? But I also don't like the idea of the competition for, you know what I'm saying, space and resources and all that. I mean, like, I'm literally like I try to be more about the balance, true balance. Not just throwing the word out there as balance, as some may have done in this conversation alone.
Jay. So this guy. So,
but what I'm saying is actual balance where all things exist. You know what I'm saying? On different planes. It's not necessarily a matter of, well, this is a better plane or this is a worse plane. It's just that is a thing. Acknowledge what it is and see how you can utilize it towards whatever it is that you're trying to do, or whether or not it's an obstacle in what you're trying to accomplish. I mean,
so with this is my question. With both of you all, you know, coming from your backgrounds, because you probably are the most two biblical people I know. If anything, whenever I have questions about the Bible, I usually turn to one of you two and be like, "Hey, is this right?" But for real, and you know, said I know you said Diamond Crook. You're currently, I know both of you have been married. So do you see any truth in what, you know what I'm saying, that Reverend Franklin has said?
Well,
do you agree with anything he said?
1,000%, because like I'm not gonna say the last thing he said was like ignorant. Well, why are you married? It was just like that didn't even make sense. But
you gotta listen to the rest to let him explain.
He was saying it as a retort though. So I mean it made its own sense. He was but you know, it's
Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It's really all it is. It's
here you go with these names of things.
Well, I mean, if you don't know about it, then I apologize. But
why don't you explain what it is? Because I don't know the name of that shit. You know what I'm saying? What is it? What is it, Jimmy?
You should know that.
What is Maslow's
hierarchy? In the 1950s, I'm explaining it to you. In the 1950s, Abraham Maslow was a psychologist, and he studied the most successful people in the world at the time. And he realized there was a way that they prioritized their needs, and there was 5 levels. Now, it was really just a theory called the theory of human motivation. But modern day, you'll see it in the form of a pyramid. He didn't do that, but most people
get to the 5 needs, man.
Come on.
Physiological needs, which is food, water, air, and rest.
Your basics. Shelter. That's one.
Yeah, then security needs, which is shelter, clothing, job, the ability to provide your own food, water, and air.
Bang, bang.
Okay.
You're
talking about the social work joints. All right. So
I'm talking about Maslow's hierarchy.
I ain't have the name for it, but I remember what you're talking about. The hierarchy of need, basically, is what you're saying.
The 3rd level is your love and belonging needs, your intimacy, your family, and your romantic relationships. And
talking to me.
And then
Right
fourth
on.
is your esteem needs, which is like accomplishments, like, advancements at a job. And then fifth is self-actualization, the idea of becoming the ultimate version of yourself. And so
Ultimate
there's
version.
two, I've looked at those, I've learned those things in two different ways. When I learned about it first in prison. And when I started teaching it in rehabs, I would teach the group about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and we would talk about love and belonging. Because I would come one week and I would see Sally Mae from New York and Billy Bob from Mississippi, don't know each other, never met. They're on opposite sides of the room. The next week, they're done with half on a baby. They're in a relationship because they think that's what they need at the time. Can they provide their own food, water, and air? No. Can they, do the basic things they need to do, like Mr.
Hold
Franklin
up.
was talking about, as an individual? No, but they think they're ready for a relationship. And on the other side of
Or
the
they're
way
searching for a port in the storm.
well, I mean, of course, and that's obvious because it's hard to go through recovery by yourself. You're empty. All these
We're
things.
all searching for a port in the storm.
So, and the other way I learned about that is when I came back home to be a father.
Any port in the storm.
When I came back home to be a father, I recognized, like, okay, if
Hold on a minute. Repeat that last sentence.
When I came back home to be a father, I was always a dad, but I wasn't a father.
That's a story of his own.
It really is. So when I came back to be a father, over the last 2 years, I learned it from another perspective. Like, if I make sure that my kids have their basic needs and I'm giving them security, their clothing, their housing, and all that, if I'm giving them adequate love and belonging, then they're also getting it from other people that are in their, what's the word you use, Brian? Simulation. You know what I mean?
Amazing.
And then
You could just stay in their space, man.
a priming. It primes them to have better self-esteem. You know what I mean?
And therefore they can reach self-actualization that much easier.
So at the end
I
of the
get that
day,
part.
it's like, even if you are in a relationship, it's still being able to. I throw this analogy to people all the time, and I'll end it with this.
Come on, get there.
I'm going to. If your life is imagine your life to be a 100-mile stretch of road. You know what I mean? And your number one job is to pass out water to people. And you got, the best water in the world, whatever. Now, these people you're supposed to pass out water to are, your friends, your family, even people in your destiny that you're supposed to help one day. But you get about 10 miles in and you're passing out water to other people, but what's the one thing you're not doing? You're not drinking the water yourself. You get about 30, you get about 30, 40 miles in. If you don't start drinking this water, you're going to die. So it's like, it's important to be able to understand that your purpose is to pass out water to other people, but you still got to drink the water yourself. So you got to maintain yourself.
I feel like you'll cramp up, but you won't necessarily die.
I feel like, I mean, it's a 100-mile stretch of road. I mean,
but I feel like
depending on when you drank water before you left. I mean, you know what I mean.
At the end of the day, it's the point has been given to lots of people.
That you weren't drinking the water that you're passing out, though. I mean, like that's
you gotta make sure it's alkaline water. But more importantly, if you were eating fruit,
the H2O.
No, it's crazy because usually when I tell people that, I'm like, yo, you got Fiji water, Dr. Osabi alkaline water. But I mean, it's basically just to put your face mask on first. You know what I mean? That's all it is. It's like, when the plane's going down, you got to put your face mask on first. So you got to live like that throughout your relationship. You got to make sure.
Well, I mean, it's literally you can't help nobody if you can't help yourself.
That's it.
I mean, and if but once again, that's actually all the way back to that. I said it earlier, but it's once again a biblical phrase of being equally yoked. The Bible warns you about being unequally yoked.
Yeah.
So like 2 oxen got a yoke across both of their heads or whatever, both of their necks or some shit, and you trying to drag a cart or whatever, or doing some sort of farming or whatnot. If you got one that's moving slow and weak, you know what I'm saying, your shit gonna move sideways. You're gonna start spinning in circles because one stronger than the other, they ain't moving the same speed. That shit's gonna just keep turning. So yeah, it's the same bag. You can't make progress if one of the links in the chain is weak. Blah blah blah. Yakety smackety. I feel like this is a simple and not very complex point.
I feel like
I don't think it's that complex for us three, but I mean,
feel like I got a chip on my shoulder the size of a boulder that a giant wouldn't even bother to hold up.
Well, I
like,
think
Mitch, why you carrying it is because it ain't enough straw to be buried with.
I think that's so true on so many levels, and I'm gonna get deep with it for a second because I think that until the last,
you ain't gonna say pause, granddad.
No, I don't need to. I'm comfortable with my manhood, not to need to say things like that. So at the end of the day, I think over the last few years of you really getting to know your father the way you have, Brian, and to understand that a lot of even though he was gone for a while in the army, a lot of those characteristics that you felt like you didn't know really where they came from because you grew up so different from your family, like
Isolated.
you recognizing that a lot of those came from him too. You know what I mean? And so I think for most of your life, you've been lone wolf status. And I'm very similar too, because I'm very different from my family. And then when I met my real family, not my real family, but my biological dad's side of the family when I was 18, and I was like, oh man, my grandfather and grandmother were like stone cold Christians, like, and they've been praying for me all my life. So it's like some of that stuff I believe got spiritually passed down to me. Oh, that's why I'm like this. You know, so when you're like that for a large part of your life and you feel alone, it's kind of hard for you to accept the help that may be provided. You just don't want it the way it's been provided.
You know what I wonder? If maybe it's a genetic disposition towards needing something to worship.
Oh man, here we go with this.
Just like the genetic disposition towards